is up, y'all? AJ here, back at it for another Docs WOD, or workout of the day. I got a special workout coming for you guys. It is called the OG Kettlebell WOD. All right, so turn the clocks back. I want to say I'm 34, so yeah, over 15 years ago, I was introduced to kettlebells on the beach. Okay, and this was one of the original workouts that I was introduced back, just over 15 years ago. All right, so the setup of this workout is that it is a 30-minute AMQRAP, or as many quality rounds as possible, okay? And within this workout, it has all the basics, okay? All the basic movement patterns. What I'm typically mean by that, it means a hinge, a pull, a push, a squat, a load, and you could essentially say that it's a little bit of a carry in a sense. When, I always like to introduce a carry to some degree or another when we are talking about time under tension. And the one particular move where time under tension is very prominent would be the Turkish kettlebell, okay? So, again, the setup of this workout is going to be a 30-minute AMQRAP, as many quality rounds as possible. And the movements goes as follows, all right? So, movement number one is going to be your swings, okay? And you're going to be sticking to the rep scheme that is situated within the copy of this particular workout in the caption, okay? So, and you can, if you need to retrace your steps and come back to this live set, be my guest, okay? Or you can be able to get all the info underneath, all right? So, movement number one, you're going into your swings. Whenever we're getting situated with our swings, get ourselves about a foot distance from that bell, pull the hips back, okay? Nice tilt with that bell. Set your breath from here. Double inhale, exhale, standing tall, okay? So, right there, you're sticking to 5 swings every single round, okay? Movement number 2, and I was just joking with you. It's not 5 swings, it's 10 swings. My memory escapes me, honestly, and especially when you have the cheat sheet right there on the board. So it's 10 swings. 10 swings, Holland. Okay, so movement number 1 is going to be 10 swings. You're sticking to that same rep scheme every single time. Movement number 2, you're going to be going down to 5 pull through push-ups. Have that bell situated just beside you, nice tight plank position. Opposite hand pulls through, pull, pull, push up. Okay, each time you do that push up, that's 1 rep. Okay, so you're sticking with 5 reps right there. Movement number 3 is that you're going up into goblet squats. Okay, so zipping that belt up, snapping the horns right here, nice and tight. Inhale down, exhale, standing nice and tall. Okay, right there, goblet squats. Again, I can't emphasize it enough in terms of the breathing. Double up that inhale, down, exhale with the hips. A good rule of thumb within all the movements for the most part, whether it's swings, squats, deads, snatches, cleans, you want to be exhaling with the hips. And for me, specifically, which you'll learn a little bit further into what I'm creating now, the Kettle Breath Resilience training course, okay? Certification rather, it's going to be how to maximize your breathing with the kettlebell movements, okay? And for me, specifically, the breathing, everything's in and out the nose during those kettlebell workouts, okay? Movement number 4, it's gonna be snatches, okay? From here, you're doing 5 snatches on either side. Good tilt, just like you're setting up for a single arm swing. Hike, punching it on up, okay? Picturing that there's a wall about a foot distance from us, okay? So for me, I fall more into the category of hard style training to some degree. I kind of gravitate a little bit, off the borders of strong first a bit, but it's not competition style for me at least, okay? Because competition style, you spin that bell on out, and you're floating that bell out, and that there's a little bit more of an arc to it. For me, specifically, I'm pulling it straight on down, punching it all on up, okay? If you're more comfortable with the competition style snatches, then be my guest, go with that, okay? So, you're doing 5 snatches on either side, okay? And you can swing switch at the top, go right to that other side, or put that bell down, and then reset from the ground and snatch it back up on that other side, okay? And then movement number 5, you're gonna be going 5 pull-ups, okay? Finding yourself a pull-up bar, getting full extension, okay? Having those knuckles forward, pulling your chin all the way up above the bar. We're trying to eliminate any kind of kipping or, any of the, I know kipping in CrossFit, that's a completely different movement, okay? It's not necessarily, I would say, a pull-up, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're just going to try to keep this as strict as possible. Now, if you need to use a resistance band, that's perfectly fine. Put that band underneath your foot, underneath your knee, full extension, and pulling yourself above that bar. If you don't have access to a pull-up bar, then go to a TRX, and instead of doing 5 TRX rows, okay, you're going to go 10 TRX rows. And if you don't have access to a pull-up bar or a TRX, then you're going to come back to your bell, and you're just going to go 5 and 5 bent rows, okay? So when we're performing those bent rows, lock that opposite arm in, pack that lat, and keep it nice and tight. So you're going 5 on the right, 5 on the left, okay? So again, we're slowly chopping away at all the different movement patterns. And then finally, where you're going to be going is Turkish get-up, okay? Just from a little bit of a crash course of the Turkish get-up, how it works, okay? My big thing when performing the Turkish get-up for myself, but also for teaching it, or coaching it rather, I try to associate one word to each one of the movements, okay? So for that, what we're going to be doing, okay, I'm just going to be calling out one word for each one of the moves, okay? Now the setup tends to be a little bit more on the crucial side with just about everything, because in reality, you got to be able to know how to tie your shoes before you start running the marathon, right? Isn't that a saying? Unless you're doing it barefoot, you don't have to worry about that, right? So the setup, okay, it tends to be a little bit more on the crucial side for me at least, okay? So for here, if the bell's on the right side, okay, I want to tuck my hip underneath, keep this straight leg in alignment with my opposite arm, okay? So left leg, left arm, and I'm lifting up this butt cheek right here, okay? So we get this bell racked on up, tuck that hip. From here, roll, okay? Here's where I'm going to be talking about just one word at a time. I'm picturing there's a bug underneath my hand. Squash, sweep, okay? You're going to have nearly a straight line from that left hand, left knee, left foot. Hinge, spring, okay? This is where you can go one or two directions. I'm just going to go one direction here. So close, stand, okay? Tap, lunge, open, hinge, slide, sit, bow, down, okay? So again, right there, keeping it nice and controlled, okay? The Turkish is one of those beautiful moves where you don't need to be moving 100 miles an hour, all right? You just focus it up on form, control, and it's almost slower, it tends to be a little bit better for this particular move, okay? So that right there is the OG Kettlebell WOD. Again, it was introduced to me many, many moons ago. I always like to kind of like retrace and come back to this one, okay? Now, in terms of approach to this kettlebell workout, okay? So, you typically, this is essentially made for somebody who it has access to multiple bells, but if you only have access to one bell, that's perfectly fine, okay? Because if you're able to do all these movements with one bell, okay, I would prefer you start with a lighter bell, especially if you're just getting into it with the kettlebell training. But if you're able to have access to multiple bells, the rule of thumb tends to gravitate like this for these particular moves. Swings, pull through push-ups, and squats tend to be on the heavier bell side, whereas snatches and Turkish get-ups tend to be a little bit on the lighter side, I would say, like the medium side. Okay, of course, if you're an experienced kettlebellar, you know what bells to use for what moves. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But this particular workout, it doesn't matter if you are a beginner or a full-on advanced expert, if you say, okay, within the kettlebell realm. All right. So what I mean by that is now, if you have been practicing with bells for quite some time and you want to incorporate this kettlebell workout once a week over the next 2 months, I highly recommend it because of the fact that, one, you're hitting all the movement patterns that I discussed earlier, the hinge, the push, the pull, the squat, a little bit of a carry in terms of the times under tension, but the load aspect with the Turkish get-up. So if I was you, or if I was speaking to a version of me in a different universe, or just speaking to myself, what I would do is I would perform this workout once a week, and I would pick a bell, okay, for my squats, swings, and my pull-through push-ups, and then I'll pick a separate bell for my snatches and my Turkish get-up, okay? Let's just say for the swings, pull-through push-ups, and the goblet squats, I want to use the 32 kilogram, okay? And then for my snatches and for my Turkish get-ups, I want to use a 24 kg, okay? Just keep things simple right there, okay? And then I'm gonna perform that using those particular bells for those particular movements over the course of, let's just say 2 months, okay? Let's just say a month, okay? Just to keep it condensed right now. Okay, you do it once a week, that's 4 weeks right there. And then you're feeling pretty good, you're feeling more confident with the movements. And then from there, after month 1, you go into month 2. And then instead of sticking with those same bells, what you could do is you go increase, okay? You can increase those particular bells for the swings, the pull-through push-ups, and the squats. So instead of using the 32 kg, you can go up and let's just say the 40 kg, okay? You could jump up a little bit right there. And then instead of using the 24 kg, maybe you just keep it into a smaller increment of 4 kilos and you go up to the 28 kg, okay? Okay, now that's one way that you can go about it. And you can just continuously progress, utilizing these movements and slowly, incrementally, progressively overloading these kettlebells movements in the sizes, okay? Now, if you don't have access to any of these bells and you only have one bell, like I said, use a lighter bell for all these movements. And then when you're ready to purchase another bell, a good goal to being able to perform this workout would be to be able to perform what bell you're using for the swings, the pull-through push-ups, and the squats for your snatches and your Turkish get-up, okay? So if I were to retrace the steps and all you have is a 12 kg, then perform all these movements with the 12 kg. And then once you're feeling more confident with the movements, you've done a lot of practicing, you've hired a coach who's able to teach you the details of the Turkish get-up and the details of the snatches and so on and so forth, then you can purchase that next bell of the 16 kg and move your way on up to the 20 kg and then slowly build up as you progress through, okay? The OG Kettlebell WOD, okay? Trying to think what else with this, okay? But again, I can't stress it enough in terms of tracking what bells you're using for these particular moves, just because, you know, you want to be able to look back on yourself and be like, oh, the first time that I did the OG Kettlebell WOD, I used these weights, and now 2-3 months later, I'm now using these weights now, okay? And now there's the rounds element of it, okay? Now, I typically use the 30-minute time cap, okay? More so to the fact of, well, one, that's how I was introduced to it, but two, because I'm normally running group sessions and I want people to being able to come in and get the most bang for their buck in a short period of time, and then they go off and go back to their families and their life and whatnot, okay? Because I know everybody can't spend 2-3 hours in a gym, okay? Now, if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily need or isn't really pressed for time or has like an hour time block, then what you could do is you could either stick with the 30 minutes and just, okay, keep a moderate pace, go minimal rest in between each one of the moves, maybe give yourself a minute or so after you've performed all of the movements, and then go into the next round, and maybe you only get 3 rounds, maybe you only get 5 rounds, okay? Or you can go the route with no time cap, and you just set yourself a standard number of rounds, okay? And now this is, again, for the particular person who doesn't have much time constraints and has, you know, at least an hour to get a solid workout in, giving yourself moderate rest time in between either the movements or the full round, okay? So what you could do is you could just stick with let's just say 5 rounds. 5 rounds just sounds good, feels good, for me at least, okay? Or just pick a number of rounds that you want to stick with, okay? And now this kind of goes into the category of programming, which I don't want to spend too much time talking about because I can talk about it for days and days and days on that. But you can stick with 5 rounds and stick with 5 rounds. Do it once a week over the course of a month. Stick to what bells you're using once a week over the course of a month. And then after that next month, stick with the same rounds, but instead go up in weight. And then just continuously progressing as you continuously look. And then you'll get to the point where you look back on when the first time you did this, and you'll be blown away about how much stronger and more fit that you actually are, okay? So again, this right here is the OG Kettlebell WOD. I hope you get after it. Let me know how it goes. You can check the comments or, drop in the comments of any questions that you might have, whether it's programming, whether it's the movements. I can guide you through it, and I could send you other links for specific techniques or tips and tricks and cues on how to, get a little bit closer to mastering some of these movements. And also, if you are interested in getting more workouts like this sent to you every single week, I have a fitness online kettlebell community where I send workouts every single Sunday. Okay, so you can check the description below. You can get a free 7-day trial if you want to give it a go. But either way, best of luck, get after it, and I will see you on the next one. Let's get it.